What's up, everyone? It's time for another trip report. Today we're flying Japan Airlines business class on the Boeing 777-300ER from New York JFK to Tokyo Haneda. 皆さんこんにちは、サイモンです。本日は日本航空ビジネスクラスボーイング 777-300ER ニューヨーク JFK 東京羽田にレビューしていただきありがとうございます。We start our trip today at New York's JFK International. After our red-eye flight from San Francisco, we took the air train from Terminal 8 to Terminal 1. There was no line at check-in and we were able to get our boarding passes printed right away. Sadly, this wasn't the case at security. Even with TSA pre-check, it still took us over 40 minutes to get through. Japan Airlines, or JAL, uses the LUFTHANSA lounge at JFK, and because of our One World Emerald status, we were given access to the Senator Lounge on the second floor. The lounge is on the smaller side, with limited seating capacity, but it's a nice space with high ceiling, natural lighting, and a nice view of the ramp outside, not to mention a full bar service. Compared to other lounges out there, the food and drink offering at this lounge is fairly limited, but it wasn't bad. There was a self-serve soda fountain, espresso machine, and a decent hot and cold buffet spread. About an hour before departure, we made our way to the gate area. This 10-year-old Boeing 777-300ER offers 4 classes of service, consisting of 8 seats in first class, 49 in business, 40 in premium economy, and 147 seats in economy class. Pre-boarding soon started for those requiring special assistance, followed by Group 1 boarding for first class, top-tier JAL Global Club members, and One World Emerald passengers. Upon boarding, a friendly flight attendant greeted us at the door and helped us find our seats. We were seated in seats 5H and K in the mini business class cabin right behind first class. There are only a total of 7 seats in this cabin, which makes it very private. Right behind the galley is the main business class cabin, which consists of 42 seats. JAL uses the Apex suites in business class, which are laid out in a 2-3-2 configuration. It's worth noting that all business class seats, including the middle seats, have direct aisle access without jumping over your neighbor. Waiting at our seat was a full-size pillow, duvet, noise-canceling headphones, amenity kit, slippers, and the menu for today's flight. JAL also offers an airweave mattress pad, but sadly no pajamas in business class. While waiting for our departure, I decided to check out the in-flight entertainment options. There were a decent amount of movies, TV shows, music, and a handful of games, though not nearly as extensive as other carriers' entertainment options like Cathay, Qatar, and even American. The other thing I didn't like about the IFE is that you can only use the tiny touchscreen remote to navigate through the content. For some reason, I couldn't figure out how to browse using the big screen instead. After a few minutes, the boarding doors were closed, and we soon pushed back from the gate for an on-time departure. We taxied for about 10 minutes while JAL's new safety video played.
Carrying baggage will block the aisle.
荷物やハイヒールでスライドが破れ、使えなくなる恐れがあります。
Baggage and high-heeled shoes may damage the slide. Move quickly away from the aircraft.
どうぞごゆっくりお過ごしください。
We wish you a pleasant flight.
"20 minutes after a smooth takeoff from New York, the captain switched off the seatbelt sign, and the crew began with the meal service, starting with a hot towel.
Yes, please. I'll have a glass of champagne, and then I'll have the Japanese. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I had a glass of champagne, which was served with some AMUSE BOUCHE. The Japanese meal started with a tray of cold, assorted seasonal appetizers. The starter tray was nicely presented, and it was light and tasty. My companion opted for the Western appetizer tray, which was served with some warm breads. The Japanese main course consisted of grilled salmon and beef sukiyaki, which was served with rice, miso soup, and pickled vegetables. I'm a big fan of Japanese food, so I really enjoyed this meal. The beef was tender and the salmon was very flavorful. Both the rice and soup were served piping hot to my liking. My companion ordered the seared sea bass for his main. He also really liked his meal and mentioned that the fish tasted fresh, moist, and flaky. For dessert, I had the strawberry panna cotta, which was light and not too sweet. I also ordered a cup of green tea to end the meal. Before heading to bed, I decided to visit the lavatory to freshen up. JAL's business class lavatory on this aircraft is on the small side, but it was kept clean the entire flight and was nicely stocked with toiletries. One other thing that's unique to flying a Japanese airline is their toilets are fitted with Toto washlets. I was already feeling tired after that big meal, so I reclined my seat and made my bed. JAL doesn't offer personal air nozzles on this plane, but thankfully the cabin temperature was kept cool the entire flight. Those who are feeling peckish mid-flight, the crew sets up a snack bar by the galley with some prepackaged snacks and some drinks. Halfway through the 13-hour flight to Tokyo, I decided to order from the anytime menu. I had the healthy ramen and gyoza, and this was an awesome mid-flight snack. Two hours before landing in Tokyo, I ordered my pre-landing meal. I opted for the veggie curry rice and pork cutlet sandwich, both of which were delicious. And then I had a nice cup of coffee with cream and sugar to end the meal. The crew distributed arrival forms for passengers staying in Japan and soon prepared the cabin for landing. We had a smooth landing in Tokyo, and we taxied for another 15 minutes before reaching our parking spot. I'm personally a big fan of Japan Airlines' business class product on their long-haul flights. I like that the seats all have direct aisle access and are very comfortable for lounging and sleeping. My only complaint is the lack of personal air nozzles. The service from the crew was quick, friendly, and professional, which is consistent to other JAL flights I've taken in the past. But I think the real star here is the food. You can tell that they didn't skimp out on the quality of the ingredients. The in-flight meals tasted delicious, fresh, and were beautifully presented. In terms of amenities, JAL's amenity kit is somewhat basic, and no pajamas were offered to business class passengers. But they do offer slippers and a loaner cardigan, which was a nice consolation. The check-in at JFK was very good with no waiting, but the security line was horrendously long and disorganized. The lounge experience at the Lufthansa Senator Lounge was okay, but somewhat forgettable. What about you? What did you think of the flight? Please write your comments below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more trip reports. Thanks so much for watching and be safe everyone. よろしくお願いします。サブスクライブ、ライク、コメントしてください。ご視聴ありがとうございました。